When a woman ignores you but does this, she's falling hard for you. Psychology tricks. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies. Aristotle. She stops replying. She feels distant. Everyone tells you the same thing. She's not interested, move on. But here's the truth most men never hear. Sometimes a woman doesn't ignore you because she feels nothing. She ignores you because she feels too much. When real attraction hits, especially unexpectedly, it creates fear. Fear of vulnerability, fear of losing control, fear of getting hurt. So instead of leaning in, she pulls back. Here's the key difference men miss. If she truly doesn't care, she disappears completely. If she does care, she keeps quiet but stays aware. She may watch your stories but not reply. Remember details you mentioned long ago. Resurface at oddly perfect moments. Act distant, yet still pay attention. That mix of distance and awareness is hard to fake. The biggest mistake? Chasing or reacting emotionally. Confidence means giving space and watching what she does when you stop forcing it. Because a woman who feels nothing won't watch you at all. A woman who's falling can't help herself. Sign 1. She ignores you, but she's watching. Here's the truth most men miss, and you must hear it clearly. When a woman ignores you but still watches you closely, that silence is not empty. It is loaded with meaning, and understanding this is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks in modern dating. Because what looks like distance is often restraint, not disinterest. She doesn't reply to your messages, and you think, fine, she's not into me. But then you notice something that doesn't add up. Every story you post is viewed, not eventually, not randomly, but quickly, almost predictably. As if your name triggers a reflex. She doesn't tap the heart on your photos, doesn't leave comments, doesn't make it obvious, and that is exactly the point. Be careful here. Don't confuse loud attention with real attention. Real interest is quiet. It observes. It collects data. That is how female psychology works when emotions are involved, but pride, uncertainty, or fear of moving too fast are also present. She remembers details you forgot you shared, brings up something you mentioned casually days ago, and you're left wondering how she even knew. That is not coincidence. That is focus. Research tells us most people glance at a story for just a few seconds and move on. But when someone consistently views yours early, again and again, it means they are checking back, not scrolling past. That behavior takes intention. That behavior takes curiosity. And curiosity is the doorway to how to fall in love, even when the person doesn't want to admit it yet. Don't overreact. Don't confront. Don't chase. You must understand the psychology behind the pattern instead of trying to force clarity where tension is doing the work for you. When a woman truly feels nothing, she disappears completely. No watching, no remembering, no mental space given. Absence is clean. This is not clean. This is controlled. This is her staying close without stepping forward, because part of her wants to know more, wants to feel safe, wants to see you are when you're not performing for her. That is why she observes you from a distance. That is why she notices changes in your routine, your mood, your tone. That is why she knows when something is off without asking. And here's where most men get it wrong. They panic. They send another message. They try to be funny. They try to get a reaction. Don't. Be calm. Be consistent. Be visible, but not loud. That is how you let her curiosity grow instead of killing it. This is one of those psychology tricks that works precisely because it doesn't feel like a trick at all. It feels natural. It feels steady. And it aligns perfectly with female psychology, which values emotional safety and predictability far more than dramatic gestures. She is paying attention because something about you feels unresolved to her, and unresolved things linger in the mind. That is not accidental. That is how attachment quietly begins. You must let that tension breathe. You must let her come to her own conclusions. Because when she finally steps forward, it won't be impulsive, it will be decided. That is how to fall in love in a way that lasts, not rushed, not forced, but built through observation, imagination, and emotional pacing. So don't label her behavior as mixed signals too quickly. Don't assume ignoring means indifference. Sometimes it means she's protecting herself while still wanting to understand you better. That is the nuance most people miss. That is the layer beneath the silence. And once you see it, you stop reacting emotionally and start moving intentionally. Remember this: attention given quietly is often deeper than attention given loudly. Stay grounded. Stay composed. Let her watch. Because when a woman watches this closely, she's already emotionally involved, whether she admits it yet or not, and that alone tells you everything you need to know about where this is headed. Sign 2. She's cold in public, different in private. Sign 2 matters more than most men realize because it exposes the difference between performance and truth, and you must learn to see that difference clearly if you want to understand what's really happening. Around other people, she's distant. Polite, maybe. Neutral. She barely acknowledges you, barely looks your way, barely gives you anything to work with. That is intentional. That is her public face doing its job. But then something subtle happens when the crowd thins, when the conversation narrows, when it's just the two of you for even a brief moment. The air changes. Her shoulders relax. Her voice lowers. Her responses slow down and deepen. She engages. She listens. She reacts. Be honest with yourself. That shift is not imaginary. That is contrast. And contrast is information. Don't ignore it. In public, she is careful. In private, she is present. That is not confusion. That is control. She is managing how she is seen while still allowing herself small moments of authenticity, and those moments are not given randomly. They are given to you. Now here's the part that feels almost uncanny once you know it, and you must pay attention without overanalyzing. Body language experts have long noted that when a woman feels attraction but is trying to suppress or conceal it, her body speaks anyway. Her pupils dilate when she looks at the man she's drawn to. Her eyes linger just a second too long. Her gaze softens even when her mouth stays guarded. Even when her words say, "I don't care," her eyes are telling a different story. That's not manipulation. That's biology. That's instinct. Words are chosen. Eyes react. And when those reactions happen only in private, only when she feels unseen by others, it tells you exactly where the tension lives. In public, she is performing. She is maintaining an image. She is protecting herself from judgment, from speculation, from having her interest become a topic. Don't resent that. Understand it. Many women learn early that visible interest comes with consequences. So they compartmentalize. Public composure. Private honesty. That is how she feels safe enough to explore curiosity without committing to it out loud. This is where your role becomes critical and where a high-value man separates himself from the crowd. Most men see that private warmth and immediately rush to label it, claim it, or lock it down. They think clarity comes from confession. They think momentum comes from declarations. They are wrong. Don't rush. Don't spill your feelings the moment she softens. Be steady. Be grounded. Be observant. That private warmth is not an invitation to escalate verbally. It is an invitation to remain consistent. That is how you attract women who are thoughtful, self-aware, and cautious with their emotions. You must let her experience you as calm under pressure, not reactive to signals. Masculine energy is not loud. It is contained. It does not chase moments. It allows moments to come and go without anxiety. When she feels that steadiness, her private interest deepens because it feels safe to do so. And safety, not intensity, is what allows attraction to mature. Here's the mistake most men make, and you must avoid it if you want this to unfold naturally. They take her private warmth as proof and try to force a conclusion. They confess. They push. They ask for definitions too soon. Don't do that yet. That pressure collapses the space she needs to process what she's feeling. Remember, she is already balancing internal interest with external restraint. When you rush her, you make that balance harder, not easier. Instead, maintain your presence. Maintain your rhythm. Continue being the same man in public and in private. That consistency reinforces trust. It shows emotional leadership without control. It shows confidence without display. That is how a high-value man operates. He doesn't need to rush outcomes to feel secure. He understands timing. He understands pacing. He understands that attraction often grows in the quiet spaces between words, not in dramatic speeches. Be aware of this. When she is cold in public but warm in private, she is showing you where her authentic reactions live. She is also watching how you handle that contrast. Do you become needy? Do you become frustrated? Or do you remain composed? That response tells her more about you than any line you could ever say. Masculine energy, when expressed well, creates emotional gravity. It doesn't demand attention. It earns it. And that is exactly what begins to happen when you don't rush her process. Over time, those private moments grow longer. Her comfort expands. Her public reserve softens, not because you pushed, but because she chose to. That is how you attract women who choose you consciously, not impulsively. So don't mistake restraint for rejection. Don't confuse privacy with disinterest. Be patient. Be consistent. Be emotionally disciplined. That is how you hold the frame while she figures out what she's ready to reveal. And remember this, because it matters more than you think. Sign number 3 will reveal something even deeper about what's happening in her mind, something she cannot easily hide, even from herself. If this hit home, don't just nod and move on, anchor it. Drop a comment right now that says, I stay calm and let truth reveal itself. Like this video, subscribe for more clear, grounded psychology tricks, and remind yourself daily, public coldness is often a mask, private warmth is the signal, and a man who waits with confidence always sees the real story unfold. Sign 3. She acts unbothered, but she's testing you. Listen carefully, because this is where most men misread the situation and give away their power without realizing it. When a woman ignores you yet suddenly makes sure you see signs of other men in her orbit, she is not being casual, random, or careless. She is measuring you. She appears calm, detached, unbothered. But that calm is intentional. That distance is strategic. This is not disappearance, it is observation. If she truly felt nothing, there would be no need for signals, no need for posts, no need for carefully placed mentions. As Carl Jung once said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Her behavior is not about those other men. It is about you. This is a test of emotional steadiness, self-respect, and inner control. In modern life, attention is currency. Social media has turned subtle psychology into a public stage. When she ensures you notice, she is checking one thing. Do you stay centered, or do you collapse into reaction? This is where Old Stoic wisdom becomes practical, not philosophical. You do not chase. You do not confront. You do not perform. You observe. You remain steady. Short breath. Calm mind. Iron posture. This is how Stoicism wins moments that others lose. Psychology backs this up clearly. When someone repeatedly highlights alternative romantic interest specifically to one person, it often signals uncertainty mixed with attraction. It is not confidence. It is curiosity. She is asking without asking. She is listening without speaking. She wants to know if your interest is real, grounded, and composed, or if it is fragile and reactive. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This is that moment. If you react emotionally, you confirm insecurity. If you stay composed, you project certainty. Certainty is attractive. Calm is memorable. Silence, when chosen deliberately, speaks louder than explanation. In a world addicted to instant responses, restraint stands out. This is where an iron mind separates itself from impulse. You do not need to prove interest by competing with ghosts. You do not need to defend your value. You demonstrate it by remaining consistent, purposeful, and unaffected. Repeat this to yourself. Calm wins, patience wins, clarity wins. That is how Stoicism wins in relationships and in life. Modern dating rewards men who understand timing, not men who rush for reassurance. She is watching how you handle ambiguity. She is watching whether you spiral or stay grounded. She is watching whether you respect yourself enough to let curiosity come to you. And here is the deeper truth. Attraction grows in space, not pressure. When you do nothing impulsive, You allow her uncertainty to resolve itself. When you stay focused on your mission, your health, your work, your discipline, you communicate abundance without saying a word. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Freedom here means freedom from emotional manipulation, freedom from overthinking, freedom from the need to control outcomes. This is Old Stoic wisdom applied to modern dynamics. Hold your frame. Keep your routine. Speak when there is substance. Walk away from noise. That is iron mind behavior. And iron mind behavior creates respect first, attraction second. Remember this from many angles because it matters. She is not testing your affection. She is testing your stability. She is not looking for reaction. She is looking for reassurance through your composure. She is not moved by competition. She is drawn to certainty. You win by not playing. You lead by not chasing. You attract by standing firm. This is how Stoicism win again and again. Master this moment, and you master many others, because the principle is universal. Calm presence beats emotional display. Direction beats desperation. Self-command beats guesswork. Live this way consistently and relationships become clearer, cleaner, and stronger. This is not about tricks. This is about standards. This is about self-mastery. This is about building an iron mind that does not bend under subtle pressure. Victory here is quiet. Victory here is internal. And once you understand that, you stop reacting to tests and start setting the tone of your life. Sign 4. Her energy shifts when you're around, even when she's ignoring you. Sign number 4 is subtle, quiet, and powerful, and if you miss it, you miss everything, because it shows up not in what she says, but in what happens to her energy the moment you enter her space, even when she's pretending you're not there. So pay attention to her body before you listen to her words, because the body never lies. Notice how the room feels when you walk in, how her posture shifts as if she suddenly remembered herself, how her voice softens or goes oddly restrained, how she fidgets with her hands or adjusts her hair without realizing it, how her eyes dodge yours not out of boredom, but because holding your gaze feels like standing too close to a fire, and don't rush to label that as disinterest. Don't assume silence means absence of feeling. Be precise, be observant, because here's the truth most men never learn about female psychology. When a woman truly doesn't care, you are background noise, you are air. You could vanish mid-sentence and nothing in her rhythm would change. She stays relaxed, steady, and untouched by your presence. But when her energy shifts, when her awareness sharpens the second you arrive, when she suddenly becomes careful with her words and conscious of her movements, that is not indifference. That is attention under pressure. That is hyper-awareness, and hyper-awareness is born from emotion, not apathy. Understand this clearly, because this is one of those psychology tricks that changes how you read human behavior forever. Attraction doesn't always show up as bold action. Sometimes it shows up as restraint, hesitation, and self-control, because when feelings grow stronger than comfort, people instinctively try to manage them. And women especially are masters at managing what they feel before they reveal it. So when she ignores you, but her nervous system lights up around you, when her calm disappears and is replaced by subtle tension, that's not a rejection. That's an internal conversation happening in real time, and you must respect it, not challenge it, not chase it, not poke at it for reassurance, because pressure kills curiosity, and curiosity is the doorway to connection. Be grounded, be steady. Don't lean in emotionally just because you sense movement. Hold your frame, hold your pace, because the more composed you remain, the safer she feels to stop fighting what she feels, and that's how attraction deepens naturally. That is how to fall in love without forcing anything, without dramatic gestures, without speeches that sound good but feel heavy. Remember this. Women who don't care stay neutral. Women who care but aren't ready become alert. Every sound you make registers. Every step you take lands somewhere inside them. And that awareness leaks out through nervous energy they can't fully hide no matter how skilled they are at pretending. And here's the deeper layer most men overlook, the part that explains why this sign matters so much in female psychology and why it's one of the most reliable psychology tricks for reading attraction accurately. She's not ignoring you to push you away. She's ignoring you to regulate herself, to slow down emotions she didn't plan for, to protect a balance she feels slipping. And that internal effort is exhausting, which is why her energy changes instead of disappearing. Don't confront her about it. Don't demand clarity. Don't ask questions she can't answer yet. Be present without pressure. Be consistent without intensity. Because consistency builds trust, and trust is what allows feelings to come forward instead of staying hidden behind avoidance. And this is how to fall in love in a way that feels safe rather than chaotic, meaningful rather than rushed. Understand the sign as a signal, not a conclusion. A moment to slow down rather than speed up, to observe rather than act, because attraction is not a switch, it's a process, and when you recognize the difference between invisibility and hyper-awareness, you stop misreading signals and start responding with confidence instead of confusion. And that shift alone changes everything, because men who understand this move differently, they don't chase attention, they allow it to find them, they don't react emotionally. They stay centered, and that calm presence becomes the very thing she stops fighting, the thing she leans toward when she's ready, which is why this sign matters so much and why the next sign explains the deeper reason behind her behavior. In the first place, tying everything together in a way that makes female psychology finally make sense and shows you, clearly and calmly, how to fall in love without losing yourself in the process. If this message sharpened your awareness and helped you see attraction more clearly, support the channel by liking this video, sharing it with a man who needs clarity instead of confusion, and subscribing for more insights into psychology tricks, female psychology, and how to fall in love with calm confidence. To lock this lesson into your mindset, comment this affirmation below and mean it when you write it, because repetition builds certainty and certainty changes how you show up. Comment to remember. I stay calm, observant, and grounded. I recognize attention, not chase it. Sign 5. She pushes you away, then pulls you back. This is the moment where most men get confused, tired, or tempted to overreact. So don't rush, don't label it too fast, and don't take it personally, because what you're seeing is not randomness, it's rhythm. And rhythm always tells a story if you're calm enough to read it. One day she's distant, short, unreachable. The next day she's warm again, texting you like nothing ever happened, reaching out as if the cold spell never existed. She says she needs space and sounds firm about it, then looks unsettled when you actually give her that space. She tells you she doesn't want anything serious, then her mood shifts the moment you give attention elsewhere. And that contradiction feels exhausting if you don't understand it, but clarity changes everything. Because this pattern isn't about manipulation, it's about conflict happening inside her, not between the two of you. Here's where this gets interesting, and yes, it may sound strange at first, but stay with it because psychologists call this approach avoidance conflict, and that phrase matters. Because it describes what happens when someone wants something deeply while also fearing it just as deeply, and you must hear this clearly. This is not a lack of feeling. This is the presence of feeling colliding with uncertainty. If she felt nothing, she would stay consistently cold and unavailable if she felt secure and settled, she would stay consistently open and warm. But this back and forth, this push then pull, this emotional hesitation, that is tension, and tension only exists where something meaningful is at stake. So don't misread intensity as confusion. And don't mistake inconsistency for indifference. Think about it in simple terms, because simple truth is often the strongest truth. When something doesn't matter, people don't struggle over it, they walk away easily. But when something matters too much, people hesitate, they circle, they test distance. They step forward and then step back, and that's exactly what's happening here. Part of her wants closeness, wants connection, wants to feel what's building between you, and another part of her is cautious about what closeness might change, what it might cost her, or how deeply it might affect her life. So she tries to balance desire and safety at the same time, and that balance is unstable, which is why the pattern repeats. Now listen carefully, because this is where your response defines everything, and this is where a high-value man separates himself without saying a word. Don't chase her when she pulls away. Don't punish her when she comes back. Don't question her emotionally. Don't demand clarity she hasn't reached yet. Be steady, be composed, be predictable in your values, but flexible in your expectations, because emotional steadiness is magnetic, and this is how men who truly attract women move differently. They don't react to every shift, they observe it. They don't rush to fix tension. They allow it to resolve naturally through safety and time. That is where masculine energy quietly does its work, not through force, not through control, but through presence, consistency, and calm leadership. When she pushes you away and you remain grounded, you show her that connection doesn't equal chaos. When she pulls you back and you don't cling, you show her that closeness doesn't require losing balance. And those signals speak louder than reassurance ever could, because people trust what feels stable, not what feels reactive. Understand this as well. The stronger the push-pull pattern, the deeper the feelings usually are, not because drama creates attraction, but because attraction reveals fear, and fear only shows up where something meaningful could be lost. She isn't trying to play games. She's trying to feel safe while wanting something real, and safety is not created through pressure. It's created through emotional consistency, and this is why staying centered matters more than saying the right words. Don't over-explain yourself. Don't negotiate your worth. Don't try to win her uncertainty. Be present. Be clear. Be steady. That steadiness is what slowly dissolves the conflict inside her, because when she sees that closeness with you doesn't disrupt her sense of self, doesn't overwhelm her, and doesn't demand more than she's ready to give, her nervous system relaxes. And when that happens, the push-pull loses its power, not because you confronted it, but because you outgrew it. This is why men who understand female behavior don't fear mixed signals. They read them, and this is why a high-value man doesn't rush outcomes. He allows alignment to happen naturally and paradoxically. That patience is exactly what helps her move forward with more certainty. Attraction deepens where pressure disappears, and connection strengthens where calm replaces urgency. So don't see this sign as a problem to solve. See it as information to respect, a signal that something real is forming beneath the surface, even if it's not ready to emerge fully yet. And remember this: you don't need to convince her, you don't need to chase her. You don't need to prove anything. Your role is to remain solid while she sorts through her feelings, because solidity is rare and rarity is attractive. And now here's the key transition, because everything you've seen so far points to one final confirmation, one unmistakable signal that removes all doubt. And sign number 6 is where the pattern stops being ambiguous and starts becoming clear, because that sign reveals what she does when feelings are no longer something she's fighting, but something she's ready to accept. Sign 6. She remembers everything. Here is the truth, delivered without confusion and without apology. When a woman appears distant yet remembers everything about you, she is not disengaged. She is deeply involved, and understanding this separates men who guess from men who see clearly. She may act casual, reserved, even quiet, but then she recalls the smallest details with precision, the meal you like without being reminded, the comment you made weeks ago that you assumed vanished into thin air, the story you mentioned once in passing, the name of your childhood dog, the music you listened to during a specific chapter of your life. And that is not coincidence. That is focus. Ask yourself this question honestly: how many details do you remember about people who do not matter to you? You don't, because the human mind is efficient, selective, and ruthless about what it keeps. Neuroscience confirms it, psychology proves it, and life experience seals it. Memory follows meaning. Attention follows value. As William James famously said, "My experience is what I agree to attend to, and attention is never wasted on what the heart has dismissed." A woman does not store emotional data by accident. She remembers because something in you registered. Something stayed. Something mattered. This is not indifference. This is investment. In modern life, where distractions are endless and attention is the rarest currency, remembering details is a form of commitment without words. Silence does not always mean absence. Sometimes it means restraint. Sometimes it means control. Sometimes it means observation. This is where Old Stoic wisdom becomes practical instruction rather than philosophy, because Stoicism teaches you to judge behavior, not noise, actions, not appearances. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one, and the same principle applies here. Waste no time misreading signals when the evidence is clear. Memory is evidence. Precision is evidence. Consistency is evidence. When she recalls your preferences without prompting, she has been paying attention when you are not in the room. When she remembers your words, she has replayed them. When she remembers details you forgot you shared, she was listening beyond the surface. This is how attraction matures in adults, not through constant messaging, but through mental presence. Men between 35 and 70 understand this instinctively once reminded. Real connection does not shout, it anchors. In a world driven by impulse and speed, remembering details is a quiet declaration of value. This is where iron mind thinking matters: calm, grounded, observant, unreactive. Do not chase clarity through confrontation. Do not demand reassurance. Do not fill silence with insecurity. Strength here is patience. Strength is awareness. Strength is letting behavior reveal truth. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid," and that applies when others misinterpret distance as disinterest. You don't need to explain what you see when you understand human nature. She remembers because she cares. She remembers because your presence left an imprint. She remembers because attraction at this stage of life is selective, intentional, and thoughtful. This is not a game. This is adult psychology. Your instruction is simple: remain steady, remain centered, remain consistent. Do not overcorrect. Do not withdraw out of pride. Do not overpursue out of fear. Let her memory do the talking. Let time confirm what behavior already shows. This is how Stoicism wins strategies operate in real relationships, not by force, but by alignment. When you lead with calm confidence, when you live fully instead of hovering emotionally, you create space for attraction to move toward you naturally. Remember this: people remember what they don't want to lose. They remember what they value. They remember what they're emotionally invested in. And if she is holding onto your words, your stories, your details, she is holding onto you. This is not something to question. This is something to respect. Carry yourself accordingly. That is Old Stoic wisdom applied to modern life. That is iron mind discipline in action. That is how Stoicism win moments are created, not through noise, but through clarity, patience, and self-mastery. And here's your move: simple, decisive, and powerful. If you understand that real interest shows up in memory, not noise, drop a comment right now saying, "I trust actions, not words." Let the world know you recognize investment when you see it. Like this video, subscribe for more clear-cut psychological insight and unshakable perspective, and remind yourself daily: people remember what they don't want to lose, and when she remembers you, the connection is already working in your favor. 7. So what do you do about it? Because right here is where 95% of men quietly torch their own chances without even realizing it, and what you do next changes everything. Most guys see the signs: she goes quiet, she ignores you, but her energy still leaks through in little ways, and they think, perfect. She likes me. Time to chase harder. Time to confess. Time to prove I'm worth it. Don't do that. That is the fast lane to turning a promising situation into a pressure cooker. Be honest. If she's pulling back because she feels something and it scares her, chasing doesn't comfort her, it confirms her fear. It tells her, yep, this is getting intense, and her nervous system hits the exit. You must understand this part of female psychology. Attraction and safety are not the same thing, and when you sprint toward her while she's already overwhelmed, you don't look romantic, you look predictable. Not because you're a bad guy, but because you're doing what every anxious man does when his ego gets poked. He tries to close the distance with words, gifts, long messages, big emotional speeches. Don't. If you want to win this without games, you need psychology tricks that aren't manipulative, just intelligent. Do the opposite of what your panic tells you to do. Give her space. Real space. Not the fake space where you still stalk her profile like it's the nightly news and reread your last text hoping it magically changes tone. Step back. Exhale. Reclaim your calendar. Focus on your life like it's the main event, not the waiting room. Be in the gym. Be at work. Be with your friends. Be in your purpose. Not to punish her, not to make her jealous, but because you're a man with motion, and motion is attractive. Here's what most men don't get about female psychology. When a woman is fighting her feelings, she often needs one thing to stop fighting: contrast. She needs to feel the possibility of losing you, not because she's cruel, but because certainty can feel like pressure when she's unsure of herself. Women don't miss what's always available. They miss what they're about to lose, what they can't casually access, what forces them to decide. So don't disappear with drama. Don't go cold. Don't post thirst traps. Don't send a fine, whatever, text that smells like wounded pride. Be calm. Be quiet. Be consistent with yourself. Redirect your energy into your own standards, your goals, your fitness, your finances, your friendships, your routines, your craft, your peace. That's not playing hard to get. That's being hard to shake. And when she reaches out, and if those signs were real, she usually will respond like a man who's been living well. Interested, yes. Warm, yes. But not starving. Don't jump out of your skin. Don't over-explain. Don't unload a confession like you've been holding your breath for 3 days. Be concise. Be steady. You must communicate with your tone more than your paragraphs. Good to hear from you. What's up? That energy flips everything because it tells her, I like you, but I'm not handing you my spine. And if she tries the push-pull again, don't chase the pull. Hold your line. Be friendly, but not frantic. Be present, but not permanently available. That's one of the cleanest psychology tricks in dating. You let your self-respect do the talking. Now, hear the truth without taking it personally. Sometimes she's ignoring you because she's simply not interested. Don't twist yourself into a detective novel trying to turn no into maybe. Be honest enough to see the difference. If she shows none of the signs, no pattern, no warmth beneath the distance, no nervous checking in, no lingering eye contact in person, no accidental reactions, no shift in energy when you pull back, then it's simple. She's not into you. And that's okay. Don't beg for a role in a story she isn't writing with you. Move on with your dignity intact. That is power. But if there's a real pattern, she retreats, then circles back. She acts indifferent, then gets oddly attentive. She goes quiet, then watches from a distance. She seems calm, then gets jittery when you're around. Then you're not dealing with rejection. You're dealing with resistance. And resistance can be overcome, not by force, not by pressure, not by chasing, but by becoming the kind of man who makes taking the risk feel worth it. That's the deeper lesson in female psychology. She's not choosing between you and some other guy in a cape. She's choosing between comfort and uncertainty, between the safety of not feeling too much and the vulnerability of admitting she does. So your job isn't to corner her with a speech. Your job is to build a life that quietly answers the question she's afraid to ask. If I lean in, will he crumble? Will he cling? Will he need me to regulate his emotions? Don't be that guy. Be stable. Be grounded. Be purposeful. If you want to understand how to fall in love in a healthy way, start here. Love isn't panic, it's alignment. Love isn't pursuit without end, it's mutual effort. Love isn't proving your worth, it's living it. And yes, there are psychology tricks involved, but the best ones are simple. Keep your standards, keep your rhythm, keep your self-respect. Repeat that like a mantra when your urge to chase flares up. Because the final truth nobody wants to hear is also the one that sets you free. You've got to build a life so strong, so magnetic, so full, that whether she comes around or not, you're still winning. That's not bravado. That's emotional adulthood. And it changes everything, not just with her, but with every woman you meet, because when your life is rich, her presence becomes a bonus, not a necessity, and that shifts you from, please pick me, to, I'm inviting you. That is how to fall in love without losing yourself. So don't chase women who pull away. Be the man who stays steady when the room gets quiet. Don't bargain for attention. Be the man who attracts it by having somewhere to go. Don't confuse intensity with intimacy. Be consistent. Be patient. Be decisive. And if this hit you in the chest, remember, the choice is yours. Keep chasing what runs or build yourself into someone worth choosing, using the kind of psychology tricks that start with self-control, powered by real female psychology, and guided by knowing how to fall in love without turning it into a war. All right, appreciate you being here with me. If a woman ignores you, but still shows subtle signs of interest, don't rush, don't chase, and don't panic. Stay calm, stay grounded, and let your consistency do the talking. Real attraction grows when you're patient, self respecting, and focused on your own life. That's how you play this the right way without forcing anything. If this hit different, drop a comment with the word patience so I know you're serious about playing this right. And hit that subscribe button because next week I'm breaking down the exact psychology of why women test men and how to pass every single test without even trying. You don't want to miss it.